Hi everyone, a very good morning to all the supporters who liked my idea and who encouraged me to make this video. And I'm really happy. I've been thinking about making this video for many days, but then I was not sure because as I was also thinking that there's so many videos on YouTube and was not even sure whether would I be getting a response. But after seeing the response on the Facebook group, the epoxy resin ideas and advice, this group, man, seriously, you guys are amazing. Thank you so much for the support. So today I will definitely tell you a lot of things. I will first talk about a lot of stuff that the new beginners need to know. If you would like to get a pen and a paper for yourself, you want to make a note of it, definitely. This is like a lifetime lesson that you would definitely need to know. So make sure you get a pen and a paper. You can pause the video and make a note of all these things, because these are some basics that you would need for every class or every time that you start a project. All right, so first topic that I would start off would be what you have to buy, and then I would tell you where you have to buy. Okay, so the first things that you have to buy is there are some list of things that I have made a note of. See, I've made like a lot of notes that I was thinking of what to talk and what we need to tell you and what is needed. Okay, so first thing, basic plastic cover like a table cover, even a birthday party dollar cover, but then a plain one, not a printed one. That if it's plain, then you would be able to see the reason where it's fallen down, and it's clear. Then the next thing that you would be needing are the gloves, right? Transparent, colored, anything, but a better gloves, but the ones that do not tear apart while wearing them, and a good quality gloves. And then some mixing sticks. I basically use these popsicle sticks, very easy to use, and I reuse them like many times. So as soon as I finish using them, I wipe them off, or and then just there's just very little resin left out on it. It dries up, then I can use it for the next project as well at the same time. So I don't throw them for one time, so I can use it again and again. Then clear cups. I have different types of clear cups. This is a clear cup that is measured with all the markings. Can you see them? Right? Now these are the basic clear cups that you use for party glass. Right? Now this is a smaller version, but with the same markings, with the you know with the numbers, and this without marking. So it's entirely up to you of which one you want, and what you would like to go with, whichever you're comfortable with. I basically go with different types of cups depending on what kind of resin I'm taking, what kind of project. So if I go by weight, I don't go for the one that has the markings. I just go with the regular one. If I go by volume, then definitely sometimes I go with the ones that has the labeling, the marking on it. Now I literally can eyeball and say yes, I know it's equal. I've come to that point, to tell you frankly. So the next thing that we would need, I personally use, is a blowtorch and also a heat gun. I use both of them. Now this blowtorch I like is, you get these kind of refill gases. You just have to pump here, and then it's very easy to refill. I like this. It just removes the bubbles. Amazing. I love it. Then the next thing that I use is toothpicks. Yeah, toothpicks, the basic things that we have at home. um, the bubbles that usually they're on the surface, sometimes they don't go with the blowtorch or the heat gun, or we have blowtorch so many times you don't want to use it anymore. Use this. You can use a straw as well. It's entirely your choice. Now I always have backup molds. This is my forever backup mold. You see, already there's some of them that I poured it. So whenever I do any project, that is my backup mold, and I don't waste resin. Absolutely, 99% I try to use it up. I don't want to waste even 1% of it, because it's expensive and the cost does fall on us. right? Not on the client. And we don't want to take that cost already, and because we have already invested so much, right? So please keep a backup mode anytime handy, and then just pour it in that. Later you can make changes, you can add glitter, you can add so many things to it, you can make waves, right? So you know, we are so creative, we can do so many things. Now, the next thing that I would use is a timer. That is my cell phone. Why do you need a timer? One is for mixing, and the second one that you would need is after mixing. So the 1:1 resin that you would use has a different timing that it would set after mixing. 2:1 has a different timing. 3:1 has a different timing. The next thing that I would use is a respirator. I use this for bigger projects. I don't use this for smaller projects. Smaller projects in the sense like maybe I'm making just like two coasters, one coaster, and just like work that involves like 30 minutes to 45 minutes. But then, yes, I use a safety gear. That is like a safety shield. Yes, I use this. And sometimes I, put my mask and then put my shield and I work. Why? The reason is I live in Singapore. Singapore is extremely hot. I turn on my aircon and I like literally sweat. I can't take the respirator all the time. And so I try to work around without the respirator. This is one of the options that I found for myself. And yes, I feel it's very safe. I don't smell, no, none of my resins are toxic. I don't smell any kind of, like a pungent smell, even when I heat it up and even when I blowtorch it. I don't get any smell from my resin. My resin has no smell. It's absolutely a good quality one that I use, because at the end of the day, our health is very important than money. So these two types of respirators is what I use depending on the type of project that I. So this, like, bigger projects like this, yes, definitely I use a bigger respirator, because it takes hours and hours of work involved, and I use bigger ones. Now you need a garbage bag. Yes, your workstation should be exactly like clearly, like very clean. If it is not clean, disasters happen and our project fails. So please, you have a tissue, throw it in the garbage bag. You have a waste cup, throw anything that you want to throw right away in the garbage bag. Do not leave it on your station at any point of time. The next thing, now this is like the most lovable thing that I love. Baby wipes. Why I like baby wipes? Now I'm using a blue color pigment resin. Suddenly it touched my wet wipes. I don't want to change because it just has only like a very little bit of it. Immediately I take a wet wipe, I wipe it, right? And then I move on to the next one. Now my popsicle stick has little bit of resin on it. I wipe it off and then I mix it with mix it in another color. So it really helps me a lot. My resin is dripping, I wipe it off. So for anything apart from using on the project, anything that happens out of the project, I use wet wipes. No alcohol wipes please, because we use heat. So alcohol and heat, it turns to fire. So no alcohol wipes, only wet wipes, which is baby wipes, please. And the next thing, you need a weighing machine, a small one. So I use like this one, a small one. And this is basically when you use a 2:1 resin, it has to go by weight. You can't go by volume most of the times. So for that you use a weighing machine. Now the next thing I use is tape. I use different types of tapes. The most recent experiment that I've done is with this tape. This is the electrical tape. You have to wind your electrical wires. It's that tape. Now this tape is stretchy. So you want to stretch the tape and you want to turn it. Yes, this tape works wonders. And this tape doesn't let the resin seep through and reduces your work after when you have to clean up and when you have to sand. So I like this tape. I recommend this. Yes, I use the masking tape, I use the regular tape, I use different kinds of tapes, but I recommend this tape. Then I use apron. Why I use apron? Because every cloth of mine, every dress of mine has a resin stain on it. So I learned my lesson from there. I use my own apron. Yes, later maybe I'll buy an expensive one when I become little more good in my business. But for now, this is good. Yeah, it works good for me. And then you need a scissors to cut something, to cut your tapes, to cut some anything that handy. So these are your basic things that you need to start any project of yours, right? So your basic things are done apart from resin. Now, where to buy? It's entirely up to you. Whoever is your local seller or Amazon online, it's entirely your choice. You buy wherever you want. Now I live in Singapore, so I mostly buy online or I go local shops, and yeah, so I shop different places. Now these are the basic materials. Now let's come to the types of resin, right? So we have three types. So they, some people say, what they say, deep cast. They say, what are the other? They use different types of technology. They use different types of terminologies that is used on the labeling and deep pour, river table. Please don't get confused. At the end of the day, the formula is only three. So 1:1, 2:1, 3:1. These are the only three formulas that you have in epoxy resin. We are not talking about UV resin, so no confusion. This class is only about epoxy resin. So 1:1 is the highest viscosity, very thick. 2:1, medium viscosity. 3:1, low viscosity, just like water. Just like water, literally. Now 1:1 is very thick. That is basically used for the projects that you want something that's stable. You don't want the colors to be mixed. So basically, I use 1:1 resin when your working time is actually very low for 1:1. So after you mix, for mine that I use is only 20 minutes. So if you mix in large quantity, you have to be very fast. If you're not fast, it sets up. Many times it happened, I mix 500 ml, it set up, and my mug is filled up with like a hard chunk of resin, and I had to just throw away. So waste of money, right? So only if you are completely confident and you have good hands on your work, then start using 1:1, or you start mixing in small quantities. You can mix 100 times for your own quantities. And I also learned from my experience is do your work in layers. The more layers you do, the more perfection you get, especially for the molds. I'm not talking about the board. The board anyway we do in layers. For the molds, I would definitely say please do layers. Layers do help you a lot. Less bubbles, less disasters, and yes, it's a lot of work, definitely. It takes a long time, but then the perfection is there. I definitely agree with that. So, for example, 1:1 resin I mainly use for beach theme. Now, this type of work, it's called geode work. I use it for that work. So, if I pour in one line, it stays there. It doesn't mix up, it doesn't flow back. It just, some of them, some of the videos we see, you pour it, it's less on the board, more on the floor. I feel so bad when I see those videos. So much of resin is wasted. I don't know what they do after that, but then I just can't take it. So much of resin gets wasted, right? And yes, I do use it for coasters also sometimes when I have to use like dark colored mica powders, not light colored, only dark colored. And also, nowadays the flower patterns that people are doing, I use it for that. It works really good. The patterns come up very nice. And also the boards, the boards that I showed you, the beach theme that I told you, it works very well. Now 2:1 and 3:1, they mostly both of them work very close by. You can alternatively use both for the same projects almost. Deep pores. So you have your pyramid. Most of them say they have pyramids, they work on pyramids. I recommend 2:1. Less bubbles, but takes long time to cure, right? And when you want to do transparent, it will really be transparent. It won't be cloudy. They won't form internal bubbles, and it won't get heated a lot because it's very slow in forming and becoming hard, and it's very very slow. So I would say for pyramids, one who are doing, I would say please use 2:1 resin, not 1:1, until and unless you can make sure that there are no bubbles in your resin. But if you are not using transparent and you're using colors, then you can use 1:1. But you can expect a lot of bubbles if you don't know the technique of pouring, and you don't have proper ventilation and proper place where it can have good air, and there are some issues. When I come to that class wherein I can show the pyramid class, I will definitely explain you more in that. Right now, I want to tell you another two things very important. I know 16 minutes, I should have told this before. All this whatever I'm telling you is not a standard. I won't say you have to go by this. This is something that worked for me. Okay. By like I started this raisin art from 2016. This worked for me. It's 2022 now, and I've learned a lot of things from so many years. I failed so many times. Every time I fail, I learn why it happened and what I can do better from my failure. So whatever I tell you can work for you, cannot work for you, right? So you have any questions, like you can say that, say for example you watch my video, you followed exactly same. I cannot tell you whether or why you have failed there, because you are not using my product. At the end of the day, you're using something else at there, right? So I can only guide you the process. I cannot guide you one to one, because we are not comparing apples to apples. As you are in a different country, because if you are in Singapore, yes, I can supply you eight, like everything, and then I can say if the project fails, then definitely yes, I am here to guarantee and tell you how the result will come up. But then if you're in a different country, definitely I can only tell you the process and the technique. Now I will not do any kind of time lapse videos in my channel. I will show you definitely all the techniques. The videos might be longer, but if you want to learn, if we do time lapse videos, then you will not be able to see the actual technique, right? So we will not do any kind of time lapse videos. Now, yeah, so there were many questions, people saying that can I do my resin art in garage, how well ventilated my room should be. Guys, do not worry about that. First thing you need to know is you cannot do resin art in open air. Resin attracts dust very fast. Even a minute dust, it attracts very very fast. Like there were so many occasions where I am doing my resin art, just I poured it and immediately the dust attracted, while I just cleaned the whole house, mopped. I have a even air purifier, and like I take care of all kinds of hazards, but still there is a problem. So you have to be very very careful about it. I use my living room as my art room, and I work when my daughter is sleeping or when she goes to school. She's 5 year old, so basically when she's home she disturbs a lot and she has a lot of questions to ask, and I need to concentrate when I'm working, so I cannot answer most of the times, or I cannot attend her. So I have limited time to work. So this is my timings, what I do. Now, I personally do not recommend any DIY kits, because they do sell a lot of extra items that we don't need for the work, or some things that are repetitive that we already have. So it's your personal choice if you like it and if you're comfortable, but I usually do not recommend. The other thing that I want to suggest is for all the new beginners. I understand that, say for example, when you want to study, we go for the best education. When you want to buy a gadget, we try to buy the best one, like say Apple. When you want to buy a bicycle, you say I want to buy the best one. So when we want to buy everything best one, when it comes to art, please try to buy the best material. If you buy the best material, it will help you. It will boost your confidence when you try to use it the first time, and it will encourage you to do it again and again and again. Now, you buy the cheapest one, it fails, you try to redo, it just wastes your money. Hands up how many people have done this, and they have wasted their money thinking, oh, I should have bought a good material, or invested little better ones than buying a cheaper one, and I could have not been so cheeky here, right? So we better spend good ones. Now, I have researched some of the good resins and pigments for USA, Canada, and UK. I'm sorry if I've not done much research on the other countries, because I'm not too sure. See, I lived in Canada, I lived in UK, I have a lot of friends in USA, so I'm well aware about all these countries, but I'm not sure about other countries, so I cannot give my opinion on that. Now, for all these three countries in common, I would suggest the first person is the Mrs. Colorberry. Her products are absolutely safe. Good quality. I won't say good, it's brilliant quality, highest quality, and you cannot fail on her products. You, especially the first timers, the one who wants to get into this art, was so inspired. Yes, please invest. You want to invest $100, instead of 100, invest 150 or 50 more. But then I'm telling you, your satisfaction would be 10 times than the 150 that you have invested. I am not an ambassador of any of these guys, but then I have personally used all of their products when I was in these countries, so that is what I'm telling you. I do not get any commission from anyone for telling you or for recommending you these products. So one is Mrs. Calaberry. So if you guys are USA, UK, or Canada, and the other one is the one who are in Canada. It's Resin Art Flow. It's called ARTE. Even there, the resin of that company is also very good. Now for the UK, it's just for you. So it's just number 4 U online UK. Dryer Days. There's another company. Then it's called MAS, the other company, and then Upstart Epoxy. Art Resin is the most famous one. That no words, we should not even pinpoint on it and say it's a bad one. No, I would never say that. And then there's another company called Dipon, Dipon. Now all these guys also sell their pigments too. They're very good. They're very, very good. Now when it comes to pigments, there's another very famous one called Mayspring. Most of these famous artists use Mayspring. Their pigments are very, very good. They do a lot of deals on Halloween. Yes, they do a lot of deals on Halloween. So I know Halloween is gone, it's going to take a lot of time. So right now they do sell a lot of sample packets. Try them first. Don't try big chunk, big quantities. Try the sample packets. If you're really comfortable, you liked it, then wait for the Halloween, buy them in the deal. One box lasts long, very long, because their their pigments are very you just need very little, and then you get the color very nicely. You don't need to mix a lot. So in that way you have just resin. And for glitter, there's a company called Glitter Babes. Very, very good. The shine and the colors, beautiful, very nice. As I said, Calaberry, Upstart, Diamond also a very good one. Dipon. Now there's another one that I would like to recommend, is called Legari. Legari is the one where you want to renovate your kitchen. What is that? What do you call it? Kitchen platform. Sorry, kitchen platform. Or you want to do your coffee table. You want to do your floors. You know, their products is amazing. And then if you want to go with alcohol inks, it's called Pinata or Pinata, whatever you want to mention, but it's spelled as Pinata. Now these are some of the products that I would recommend. Please go with them, the new beginners, the new starters, and then try them and then let me know if you have failed on them. Now, uh, the other thing that some of the questions that I would answer before I go with the actual practicals, and I would show you some of my failures that I actually go, even now I do fail a lot of times, right? Now estimate your resin as much as close that you can go to. Now how do you estimate your resin? There are two methods. Say for example you have a flat coaster. You can't pour water and measure it back. You have raw rice at home, right? Put raw rice at home, lay it properly, on it, and then level it up and then measure it. Now that is almost the estimate that you would need, the amount of resin that you would require to make the coaster to that level, right? So that's one way. Now if you have like deep molds, little deeper, then use water. Pour water and then pour it back on your in your measuring cup and see how much water it is. So that's how you would definitely know. Nowadays what I started doing is, on each mold I started numbering them on how much resin I need on this. A full, to cover it up to the top. Say, this mold needs 100 ml, I write 100 ml, 200 ml, 300 ml, 600 ml, 500 ml. I write everything on them with a marker. So even if I wash them, yes. Now every mold, please wash them with a warm water with a hand soap. Do not use any kind of a metal brush, but you can use like your scraping knife, but very gentle. If there is a sticky resin that's not coming off, very gently try to remove it and then maintain them. Yes, you have to maintain them, each and every one in each ziplock, so that there is no dust sitting on them. So as I said, remember, always have a backup plan. Very, very important. Do not waste resin. Now, sticky resin, right? Sticky resin, very important. Sticky resin happens in many different occasions. First, if we do not mix properly. Second, you mix clockwise, anti-clockwise, clockwise, anti-clockwise, different directions, sticky resin. You should not do that. Third, you have mixed the resin, but you did not mix the pigment properly. Your pigment is not mixed properly in your resin. Okay. Fourth, you poured your resin and maybe your mold is wet, or maybe your mold has something already on it. Maybe you have used your heat gun a lot. Maybe you have mixed a big huge bulk amount of resin and it is heating up a lot, and then you have poured it. So the numerous number of reasons for it, for a sticky resin. Now mold not coming out properly is basically because of heat. Internal heat generated by the resin on its own, or external heat that we use it with from the blowtorch or the heat gun. That is the main thing, that the resin not coming out from the mold. Yes, happens to me too. Look, ha ha ha. Now let's talk about some mold discoloration. The mold discoloration happens when your resin has heated up more than its temperature. That happens, as I said, if you have mixed. So you wanted to use 50 ml, but you have mixed 200 ml, left it aside for like 10 minutes. It's heating up, then you realize, oh, it's heated up a lot, let's pour it in the mold immediately. Now because of that heat, your mold discolors, which we usually don't understand. That's why, the machine made molds, for a period of time we use and use, they discolor, they become yellow, and then they tear. Some of them, they shape out. All this happen. But then, the molds that we make handmade, they're far better in quality but pricey. So rather it's okay to invest from the machine made molds because they're cheaper, right? Easy, and yeah, that's okay. So the only thing that I wanted to talk about is the types of resin that I use. So I use two types of 1:1 resin. I have two types. One is high viscosity, one is little low viscosity. And I have a resin that I wanted to show you guys. Look at this. Yellow! And this is the base, this is the hardener. It becomes so yellow, right? Why does it become yellow? I had this question on the group. Number one, it becomes yellow when it is very close to the expiry. Number two, when it reacts with the air. So there's something called oxide. So when it mixes with the oxide in the air, it turns yellow. So it doesn't mean it's a bad quality. If you have a good, how do I say, good brand. Yeah. So this resin of mine is a very good brand. I use it. Yes. So yes, I made something. Let me show you. So to test my resin, because it became yellow, I made these pieces. You see, 1, 2 and 3. All 3 different, right? So I made them 6 months back to test, to check if they will turn yellow or even the white. Okay, let me bring it closer. This one better. Even the white that I've used here, I've used the same resin that's turned yellow. And you see this, the whole board I have, poured resin. You see the shine? Yeah, you see the shine? Yes, it's a very good quality resin that I love it. I use this only for beach themes and geodes. It works beautiful, it works wonders. The lacing and the cells it forms is amazing. I love it. So this resin, even if it turned yellow, I'm still okay. So I can use it before the expiry and I can finish it off. And I guarantee that it will not turn yellow. Yes, over a period of time, any resin turns yellow. That's okay. But then, it's still okay. Now this is another resin that I use. This is also 1:1. Yeah, A and a B. You see, this is my own supplier, and I supply this in Singapore to all my clients who buy from me. And yes, this is also very good quality resin. I don't make it that thick, because the more it's thicker, the more bubbles it forms, and it becomes that difficult for you to remove the bubbles. So I asked for a less viscosity, and this is the 1:1. And you can use this, to tell you frankly, I use this for all the projects. Like, I can tell you, this is like a multi-purpose resin that I've used even in deep pores, even in coasters, like you name it, I've used it. I tried this resin like a multi-purpose resin. So he is the only supplier that I have, and the relation that I have, that with that guy, had I mentioned my specifications and he make it for me. Now this is the 2:1 resin that I use, like literally watery, very watery, but then very good for the dry flowers. People want to preserve their bouquets and their wedding flowers. Very good, because it doesn't form any bubbles, any air bubbles, and very easy to remove. Very, very easy. I really love the 2:1 that I use it. I will show you some of them that you can actually go onto my Instagram. I'm actually trying to make my Instagram better and better, because taking care of the family, house, and then business, it's taking a lot of effort. I'm trying to put more time into it. Yes, definitely I'll improve day by day. And starting this channel also is a big responsibility for me at the end of the day. So I will definitely improve. But you can go onto my Instagram. That's the same name, Crisol Crafts. Actually, my daughter's name is Kriti, so it's Kriti Solutions. That's why it's called Crisol. Kriti, Sol is solutions. So Kriti Solutions is the name, Crisol Crafts. You can go on Instagram, follow me, and then I usually do a lot of reels and a lot of short videos that I make my projects, and I put a lot of things on my stories, and I show the which experiences that I usually have while doing the projects, right? Now, look at this. Do you like the flower? Yeah, the color combination. So this one I was testing the yellowish raisin that I've showed you guys. That is the raisin that I was testing to see. Now this I made 2 years back. Not joking. I made it 2 years back. Can you see? Did it become yellow? But do you see the shine? You see the shine? Yeah. So I actually didn't wanted to make it flat, so I just gave a little bit of curve while it was curing. Now this is my failure. Look at this. I'm going to press. You see my thumb marks? Do you see? Yeah, see? Yes. This is going to be like this forever. This raisin, I bought it from a new manufacturer. See, I'm going to look. So because this wasn't curing, I tried to scrape it off with a knife. I was so tired scraping. I said it's not worth it. I left it. I said I'm gonna throw it. Waste. No point. It also spoiled my mold. Look, it spoiled my mold too. The same raisin. It spoiled my... You see? You see here? So you see how the air gap has been formed? So raisin is very tricky. Oops. Okay. Look at this bendy one. Yeah? So this is called cured but not hard. So I did mistakes. I mixed it, but I did not mix my pigment properly, and I used a lot of pigment. Now because of that, you see? So it will always stay like that forever. Now the 2:1 raisin that I was telling you, I use it for dried flowers only. Look at the shine. There are no air bubbles. Absolutely zero. And it doesn't ruin your flowers, it doesn't discolor, and it keeps your flowers in the same color. I've seen that some people saying that as soon as they put them in the resin, their flowers discolor. No, this doesn't happen. So I tried to get the flower effect with the 2:1 resin. So this is the one that I tried. So I tried to get like a white lacing here, but then the white all settled down. I didn't get this pattern. So like this, I didn't get the pattern. It just settled down. So every resin reacts differently, and you cannot guarantee which so how it's going to cure when it is done. Alright guys, so this is the last piece that I would like to show. This is a free-form bowl, you see. Now I was doing an experiment with the alcohol inks that I was recommending, right? So I just poured like a plain transparent resin, 1:1, not 2:1 or 3:1, and then I poured the colors that I wanted. Then I took a stick and I just gave a pattern that I, random. I just didn't want it to have any specific, so a free-form bowl, so I can put anything. Now basically all my raisins that I use are I would say partially food safe. When I say food safe, you can use any cold and dry food. Now, any liquidy food or any hot food, even lukewarm, no, you cannot. Cold, completely cold and completely dry food, absolutely you can place it on the raisin and you can serve it, you can eat, yes. Now, no fork, no knife to be placed on it. Now, they do form marks, they do form, so you want to eat them with your hand or you want to use a spoon, not making any marks, then definitely you can. So say for example you have a pizza, you want to, a cold one, not a hot one, definitely you want to put it on that. Or say you have a cheese board, you have, a raisin on you have raisin on one side and the other side is plain, serve your cheese board, serve your pizza on the cheese board, and then you can use it. Now what are we going to do is, I'm going to show you my workstation and I'm going to mix my raisin 1:1, 2:1, 2:1 and show you. I don't have 3:1 in handy, unfortunately, and I will show you how in different techniques on if you mix faster, if you mix slower. I'm going to show you three different samples. It cures, and tomorrow I'll post the pictures and how it cures and how it will be there, right? So I'm going to turn the camera now. So this is my workstation. You see my garbage bag, right? This is my light, my focus light. I have two kinds of lights. I put two lights there. So that's my, you know, equipment, and so that's my station there, right? So now I'm going to change the camera and then I'm going to show you how we're going to mix and how we're going to pour and show you how to form less bubbles, so you can learn from there. Okay, all right guys, you see the weighing machine here. I'm going to put my cup. It's showing 1 ml difference. I press this here, it becomes 0, right? So first I'm always going to pour my base. So I always pour the base first and then the hardener, because this is going to be 2. So I just pour very little. You don't need much. So if we pour 14 ml of A, that means we need half of B, because this is 2:1. So half of 14 is 7. So we need 7 of the B. So I'll just slowly pour 7. Alright, you see the 21 there? Okay, now because that's 2:1, you need not worry. We can be very, very, very slow about it, nothing to worry, right? Okay, the cup is here. I'm going to do a slow mix because now my video recording timer is running. We will mix in the same speed slowly. Now it is cloudy. You guys can see it, right? And you see there is no bubbles formed. Absolutely no bubbles. You can mix like this. Now don't change your direction. I'm doing clockwise. Do clockwise only. You can tilt your cup. Just tilt your cup a bit. Again come back. With this, if there is any raisin on the sides, it would come out. Now how much ever I'm mixing, You see, there are no bubbles formed. So we just finished 1 minute here, according to my timer. We can mix for another 2 minutes, and then we can keep this aside. Almost coming closer to 2 minutes. It's almost clear. You see, guys, how it was cloudy in the first minute, and now how it's so clear now, crystal clear. Is it crystal clear? Yeah? Now the last 30 seconds to go. Okay, so my 3 minutes are done. Have a look at this. I know the bubbles formed, but I'm going to keep this aside while I'm going to mix the 1:1, and then we will check on this. Okay? Now because this is 2:1, the working time for this is 45 minutes, so nothing to worry. Now the time here for us 12 o'clock, so I have a lot of time, nothing to worry about it. So I'm going to take this cup, okay, because we're going to take two types of 1:1. One I'm going to mix very fast, one I'm going to mix very slow. The 1:1 I'm going to show you how the bubbles are formed. Okay? So I'm just going to take 10 ml of each. So that we did by weight, and this we're going to do by volume. I'm going to show you one more trick here too, just to make sure that we are always doing 1:1 correctly. So after you pour, you make sure that in your bottle that these two lines are matching. If they are matching, that means your volume is always you're pouring in the same way. So I have both 1:1 here. I'm going to mix this slowly. I'm going to mix this very rigorously. So my 3-minute timer starts. Only clockwise direction, very slowly. You see, already the bubbles are forming. When the viscosity is high, the bubbles form very fast, right? And you see, I'm mixing from the walls. I'm not mixing in the middle. Sometimes I mix, but not all the times. Now in this too, you can slant and then mix, but then don't change your direction. Just think it's a meditation that you're doing. Be slow, gentle, and then slowly mix. Very slow. It's been 1.5 minutes now, and yes, a lot of bubbles are formed. A lot. That is why the 1:1 is mostly used on the boards so that the bubbles are removed faster. They don't use them on the deeper molds, and coasters are very less, especially when the viscosity is high. Viscosity means thickness. Now I will show you the magic of the 2:1 resin that we have mixed it earlier. After another minute gets over. Okay. Now the smaller the quantity that you mix, the lower the risk that you are at. If the more the quantity that you mix, the higher the risk that you are at, because what happens is, if it is not mixed properly, the whole project fails. I mean, the whole mixture that you have mixed fails. Everything gets tacky, everything gets what do you call it, gluey, and you know, we feel very depressed about it if the outcome comes. Alright guys, 3 minutes are over. I'm just going to keep this aside. Now, look at this. You see any bubbles? There are no bubbles at all. Absolutely. You know, zero bubbles. Yeah, there's some that's at the corner. That's okay, because when you pour and you use the heat gun, they'll go away. But actually, to see in the mixture, there are no bubbles. Let me show you. Have a look. Just like water, you see? So that is why most of the newbies, I would suggest them to start using 2:1, not 1:1, please. Now comes the last one, the new experiment. This I'm going to do anti-clockwise, clockwise, faster, slower. So first I'm going to start slowly, then I'm going to do a little faster, then I'm going to change the direction, then again I'm going to do a little more faster, then I'm going to change the direction. Okay, let me show you. Can you see? Let me tilt the camera a bit. How white, because so many bubbles are formed. And it's not even been a minute. So, do not rush in the step. This is your success step. Here, if we don't rush, the next of the steps will all be good. Right? Now, to remove bubbles from this is impossible. Even for, I mean, when you pour in a mold, not on a board, when you pour in a mold, it's impossible, even for a pro. unless you use what is that, the chamber. Even I'm not too sure about that, but then see, 1 more minute to go. Now always after you mix, you have to leave them aside for another 2 minutes for them to settle down, and then mix for another minute. That's what I usually do. And before I pour, I always mix it again and then pour. So next what we're going to do is we pour them in the mold transparent. We'll not mix any colors. We'll pour them in the mold transparent and remove the heat bubbles. Okay? I'll put my shield back on when I start pouring again. So I'm going to use the same one in order to pour, just for a sample, right? So I'm going to use my baby wipe. I'm going to clean all the debris that's on my mold, right? So I'll hold the camera and I'm going to show you guys how I clean. Okay? And I will one of the coaster, I'll leave it clean, like I won't clean it properly, and I'll show you how the dust gets stuck to it. Okay. All right, now my shield on. Now first I'm going to take the 2:1 that we mixed here. So just give a light mix, okay, and then pour in the first mold. You see how clear it is? You see, there are no bubbles. Absolutely no bubbles. I'm just gonna heat gun for the sake. Okay, that's done. Now you see this one, the one that we mixed it slowly. See how many bubbles are there? Yeah, but you see this one, it's so white. And you see this one, right? Sorry, because I'm just using one hand. You guys mix it properly, okay? So I'm just gonna pour it in this one. And you see the bubbles? Now I'm going to use the heat gun and the blowtorch. I'm going to use both. Okay, so I put that here. Yeah, let me grab the blowtorch. Because I don't have a full full mold of resin, I cannot use the blowtorch much because it will ruin the mold. See, but I was able to remove most of the bubbles. see that? Now what I do is I use my stick and bring them to the center because we don't have much resin. We're just testing them, right, to show you. Okay, now the last one, the cloudy one. You see? See, it still stays cloudy. But because it's a flat surface, we are able to remove. But if you have a deeper mold, impossible. See, almost. We almost tried to remove them. Better. Alright guys, so that's all about it, and this is the first video. I know it's a lengthy video, I understand. I almost took 1 hour, but I wanted to give you all the beginners a detailed information of the first class on how and why you need so much of knowledge on why to start resin art if you decide on that you want to be a future profession. And hope you all support me. Please subscribe to my channel and I will do better and a better videos and better lighting, and I could do the best justice to the videos that I can with the phone that I have. I will try to improve them. This is my first video. If I've done any mistakes, please do forgive me. Thank you so much. Have a good day guys. Please do leave some comments and let me know how I've done so I can improve in my second video. Take care. Bye bye.